podcast number 4. My goodness. Let's talk about sex and why it feels so good, and altered states of energetic awareness and consciousness related to sexuality, and why when we do have this kind of spiritual erotic experiences, we have it's such a amazing blow your mind experience, and it can feel so good. And let's talk about why that feels so good. And if we start with the basic physical sexuality, I think we all have a pretty good idea as far as like the neuroscience and the studies of the dopamine and the serotonin and all the things that happen when we have an orgasm. But that's just like the start. That's like grade 1. And so many people just get stuck there in grade 1. They don't ever move on to anything past that physical sexual experience. And this podcast is about the evolutionary process of your sexual life experience, and starting to be able to use sexual transmutation of energy to become creative in your life. And there's so many mentors and there's so many spiritual gurus and guides, and I followed since I was very young almost most of them, at least in the English speaking world. Eckhart Tolle and the Power of Now, and so many wonderful guides and mentors that we have to teach us about spirituality. But very, very few people are giving us information about sexuality and how it relates to spirituality and the creative energy, the God energy that's inside ourselves. I've had a lot of discussions lately with a group of Christian people who I'm starting to really insist that people start to recognize that their sexual energy is their creative, intimate energy, and that is their God energy. That is their energy, that is the energy that God and the universe gave you, however you want to see it, whether you're atheist, metaphysical, Christian, Catholic, or any other kind of Buddhist or any religion, okay? So it doesn't matter what religion, it doesn't matter what philosophy you have, or whether you don't even believe in God. That creative, inspirational energy that is inside your body is the energy that you have as a motor, or it's like that is the fuel for your life mission. If you get stuck in grade 1 and you see sexuality just as a physical orgasm, there's a huge world you're missing out on. And sex feels really, really good. And as you evolve it into a higher frequencies, it feels even better. I had a wonderful mentor who taught me my courses from Meridian Energetics. And, he would say, he was 76 years old. He would say that his experiences he was having in altered states in his meditations were so incredible that the actual physical sexual reality became so mundane and so not interesting to him. This was really an eye-opener for me because, we all love physical sexual pleasure, but very few people consider that they can take that energy and the creativeness and they can work with it and they can guide it into, instead of it being flowing out of your body and going into the physical world kind of almost wasted. It's okay, we have all this wonderful energy and we have a physical orgasm and it's gone. What happens if we're feeling this energy and we breathe in and we bring it to the heart center and we start to work with the energy to create? And we visualize, let's say I want this podcast to be a great success. So we start to use the energy to visualize the podcast becoming, very important, and many people watching it, and get invited to speak with important people and psychologists and sexologists. And so then we start to use that energy. And what is the first step? And this is where I want people to start understanding that there is another way. And there are people that know how to do this. And they're just, I don't know whether they're afraid to talk about it. My mentor said, oh my goodness, he said, looks like you're going to be the one who talks about the sexual energy. And he's like, I said, I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to go there. There'll be a lot of people that will criticize and all this stuff, And it's like, I don't know why, but I'm not afraid of talking about it. And I don't think people are going to criticize me for putting it out there, because there's got to be a lot of people out there that have a lot of curiosity, just like I did for many, many years, about where else can we go with this? Because the physical sexuality is just one very small first step. So, okay, let's say we are wanting to create something in our lives, and we have a vision in our mind, and we're having a lot of great sexual energy. What can we do? Here's like a little kind of start for someone who's never tried this before and is wondering what it's all about. Get your feeling of the sexual energy going and start to visualize with your mind in the heart center what it is you want to create, or what it is you want to do, or what it is you want to put out into the world. And then breathe in deeply. And instead of the feeling of the sexual orgasmic energy going out of your body through the sexual organs and the lower, if you want to call it chakras, or kundalini energy, or whatever you want to call it, going out through your sexual physical body. Try breathing in deeply and lifting the energy up into your heart center. And let's just create like a bubble of beautiful erotic energy and visualize what we want to create. An amazing podcast about sexual transmutation. Let's call it Erotic Abundance. And let's create like a bubble in our mind and visualize it going out into the world and creating an amazing information place for people who want to learn about transitioning their sexuality to a higher vibration. Okay, so I don't know, as I talked about it, as I said it, I'm trying to send the energetic feeling or message of how to do this. And it doesn't really matter how you start to get the sexual energy going. I think this is where we really need to drop away the taboo and get rid of the stupid idea that sex is bad, that it's evil, that it comes from the devil, and that we're going to go to hell. This is a really old energetic idea about light and God and universe versus devil, evilness, and hell. And I understand why the Bible and the church or the Holy Scriptures managed to this whole idea in this way. Because we have a lot of people who have like, I don't know, they're in a different time and they have issues with addictions and different things. And they're going through difficult times in their lives and they need like to have fear in order to control themselves. But I think that we're kind of getting to a place where we're not in a need to be afraid anymore in order to evolve. A lot of people are in a place where they don't need to feel afraid of going to hell in order to be good people. So in that moment, when we start evolving and realizing this, I think we're kind of at a place where we can start to say, okay, so let's look at this all from a point of view of we have light and we have less light or lack of light, lack of God or lack of love. Instead of looking at it as being like God versus the devil, good versus bad. Let's look at it as good and light versus less good and light. And let's look at darkness as being the lack of light, like shadows. You can't measure them. They don't exist. It's just a lack of the sunlight. That's why there's a shadow there, because there's less sunlight in that place. And it's exactly the same thing with our sexuality. We have dense physical animal sexuality, and we have sexual expression that we are using to channel to creative energy, which is what I would consider our creative, intimate, godly energy that we were given in order to create as well. In order to create in our lives what we came here to do with our life mission. And in that moment, we're not really talking about sexual energy anymore. We're talking about erotic, creative, and intimate expression of our life force. So I think this is the first part we have to really get over. Get over this feeling that this is bad and this is evil and this is something that's not nice, you know? Once we get to a place where we can see our sexuality as a more beautiful expression, I think then in that moment we can start to have a different kind of like a different perspective on things and not see it in that way, okay? So take a deep breath, bring energy up into your heart center and visualize something that you want to create. And this would be like the first step, okay? So this was like a little kind of podcast on how to get started. But as we go through, we will continue to give more advanced exercises and ideas and evolve also along with you. This is a very new idea, and I would appreciate all your support and help on give me positive feedback. I will imagine that I might get a little bit of pushback from people that have, outdated belief systems on sexuality and religion, but my intention isn't to criticize anyone. It's to help people start to see things in a new way. And I think it's time. I think we're ready for this, and this is what I came here to do. This is my life mission, and I hope you enjoyed the podcast. And see you soon.